Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby and today I'm going to be giving you guys some of my spring book recommendations. As it is March, in my head that means it is officially spring. I love the springtime, minus the allergies because I am a spring baby. I was born in April, I'm a Taurus girl, so when the weather starts getting warmer and the flowers start blooming, I get very happy. So when I was curating this list for you guys, I had a few things that I kind of wanted to keep in mind as I was choosing books. Just some of the tenets of spring, things that make me think of the season, and from there I chose books that kind of reflected those things. To me, spring is about new love, it is about second chances, and it's about trying new things. It's kind of like the world is just kind of coming alive again, and I kind of wanted those themes reflected in the books that I chose. So I have 6 books to share with you guys, so grab a warm cup of tea. I am currently drinking jasmine green tea, and we will get started with these recommendations. So the first book on my list is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is a romance, specifically an adult romance, so if you are not comfortable with some older themes, maybe this one isn't for you, but I have a bunch more. The Love Hypothesis follows Olive, who is a PhD student who wants to prove that she has moved on from her previous boyfriend. With no other way to prove it, she kisses the first man she sees, and that ends up being Dr. Adam Carlson, who is this kind of very grumpy professor at the university where she's a student. Kind of reluctantly, Adam agrees to be Olive's fake boyfriend, and they have to keep up this charade of dating while also getting to know each other at the same time, and it's about what happens when real feelings start to surface. One of the things that drew me to this book initially is it is actually based off a fan fiction from Star Wars about Kylo Ren and Rey. I love those characters. I was rooting for them the entire trilogy of those movies, and I love that this book has the grumpy sunshine theme, it has the fake dating trope, so just some really great elements of this book that really made me love it. And it's about kind of finding new love and discovering yourself. Olive is a very driven and happy person, and she's kind of trying to bring some of that light back into Adam's eyes, so that is another way I kind of viewed it as spring and blossoming romance, so highly recommend if you haven't already tried it. So the next book on this list is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. This book was released back in February. I got an early copy of it, and it was definitely one of my favorite books of January. In The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, we follow Mina, whose homeland has been essentially ravaged by these horrible storms and hurricanes because of the sea god's wrath. Every year, Mina's village chooses a maiden to become the sea god's bride with the hopes that sacrificing a woman to the ocean will calm the raging storms. Unfortunately, the bride that they chose this year happens to be Mina's brother's one true love, and in order to save her brother's happiness, Mina offers herself up instead to the sea god. Once Mina enters the sea god's realm, she discovers that not everything is as it seems, and she goes on this quest full of mythical creatures to save her village and save the sea god himself. This book was just absolutely stunning, from the descriptions to the settings to the characters and plot. The book itself is actually based on a story from Korean mythology called The Tale of Shimcheong, and I just love how the author adapted it and kind of expanded that world. Everything about this book is just so beautiful. I can picture every single scene in my head so clearly. Axie O did a wonderful job writing this, so if you are interested in a standalone, beautiful fantasy book, I highly recommend checking out The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. The next book on my list is another romance, and this one is You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hoggle. This book follows Naomi, who has the perfect fiance named Nicholas. He is kind and thoughtful, and she is utterly sick of him. Naomi wants to get out of this wedding, but there is a catch. Whoever ends the engagement has to foot the wedding bill. When Naomi discovers that Nicholas is also kind of sick with her, they become locked in this battle of wills, each trying to get the other one to end the engagement first. But as they get closer to the wedding, Naomi finds her resolve to end the engagement slipping, because now that they are finally pranking and sabotaging and having fun together, they realize that they are finally being their true selves. And neither is sure they want to lose that. This book is the ultimate second chance romance. I mean, you have this couple who fell in love and obviously had deep feelings for the other, enough to get engaged, but then find that they are kind of falling out of love with each other. And through pranking and sabotaging each other, they're finally kind of able to let go of these constraints that society has set on them, and also that each other has set on them, and finally be themselves. And it's just such an interesting journey how this relationship kind of goes from up to down to up. It's definitely the perfect springtime book if you are a lover of weddings, of fun prank sabotaging romances, someone who was lovers to enemies to lovers again. This book is perfect for you, and I would love to see more people talking about it because I think this is such a great book to read in the spring. So the next book I have to recommend to you guys, I have talked about so much on my channel, but that is just a testament to how much I love it, and that would be 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. I absolutely adore this story, and first of all, the cover just kind of screams spring now, doesn't it? It is so beautiful. This is the Fairy Loot edition, but I know that the originally published cover also is stunning. So that's just one reason. If you're I like to buy a book based on the cover kind of person, this is one for you. So 6 Crimson Cranes is a retelling of the 6 Swans fairy tale by the Brothers Grimm. In it, we follow Princess Shiori of Kyoto, who has forbidden magic flowing through her veins. Normally, she's very good at hiding her forbidden magic, but when her stepmother Raikama finds out that she has it, she banishes Shiori and turns her other brothers, her 6 brothers, into 6 Crimson Cranes. And she tells Shiori that if she ever breathes a word about her magic or who she is, one of her brothers will die for each word spoken. As Shiori searches the land for her brothers, she comes across a dark plot that threatens to overthrow the kingdom. As Shiori searches for her brothers and learns to control her magic, she comes across a dark conspiracy threatening to take over her kingdom forever. Once again, this book just has beautiful settings, amazing magic. Like, the magic system in this book is so fascinating and wonderful. I loved Shiori as a character. Even though she couldn't speak, she was creative and she worked her way around it. She wasn't this spoiled princess character. And the love that is present in this book, the familial love that Shiori has for her brothers, is just so beautiful. Watching her continue to fight for them, even though she is the youngest of them. She's like, I'm not going to abandon my brothers. She is going to save them. And it's just such a girl power moment. Honestly, I adore this book. I think it is just so wonderful. They just announced the 2nd book in the series. I'm so excited, and I highly just check it out. It's really great. I cannot rave about this book enough. So the next book on my list is another romance, and it is definitely one of my favorites of 2021, and it is If This Gets Out by Sophie Gonzalez and Cale Dietrich. First of all, just to get it out of the way, a lot of people believe that this was originally a Harry Styles and Louis Tomlinson fanfic. I don't know if that's been disproven or not. I'm all for it if it is. I'm also all for it if it's not, but there are definitely some similarities. So if you are someone who ships Larry Styleson, definitely check this one out. So in If This Gets Out, we follow the wildly popular boy band called Saturday, specifically one of the members called Ruben, who has gotten used to his management team kind of controlling every aspect of his life. On the European leg of their tour, Ruben kind of feels that pressure overwhelming him as he is forced to present himself as something that is not accurate, and he finds a kind of solace and comfort in his other bandmate Zach, and that connection deepens on this European tour when they realize that they both have feelings for the other. They keep their romance behind the scenes for the rest of the tour, but they discover that they want to be honest with their fans and come out as a couple. But their relationship begins to falter when they find out that their management team never wanted or intended them to go public with their relationship. I absolutely love the representation in this book. You kind of have one character who is struggling to be himself in a industry where that is really difficult, and you have another character who is also in the public eye, who is also coming to terms with his own sexuality throughout the course of the book. It was just so fascinating to watch the dynamics between not only Zach and Ruben, but the rest of the bandmates and them. Seeing that like love and friendship and connection that they all have was really beautiful, and it was just such a great book. I cannot rave about it enough. It's such a good look into kind of the dark underbelly of fame and the kind of personas that people who are in the public eye have to put up, and they may not have a choice of whether they put it up or not. So it was really great. The romance between these two was so wonderful, and it's just a really great kind of forbidden romance to read in the springtime. So the final book I'm going to recommend to you guys to read this spring is House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. In House in the Cerulean Sea, we follow Linus, who is a live-by-the-rules, absolutely no fun employee who works for the Charge of Magical Youth Department. Essentially, that means he is kind of a case manager for orphans who have extra normal powers. One day, his kind of very routine life is uprooted when he is sent on assignment to this little island that houses some of the most dangerous orphans in the world. But Linus's entire worldview is kind of uprooted when he actually gets there and meets the caretaker of these children, Arthur, and finds out what it truly means to be accepted and loved as a family. This book, like, where do I even start with this book? It is just absolutely such a magical journey. You have Linus, who thinks he's very secure in who he is, but actually has a lot of insecurities and fears, and for the first time on this little island in this house in the Cerulean Sea, he is able to explore those. And you also have the caretaker for these children named Arthur Parnassus, who just wants to take care of the kids in his charge, but he also finds himself drawn to Linus in a way, and he kind of has to struggle between protecting these kids and letting Linus into like their world. So it is just such a beautiful story. Each of the kids has such a unique personality and aesthetic, I guess. I don't know. It's a story about found family. It's a story about love and friendship and, you know, becoming something new or becoming who you were always meant to be. If you haven't read House in the Cerulean Sea, I think that springtime is the perfect time to read it, and I hope you are able to check it out. And those are all the books I am going to recommend to you guys to read this spring. If you want even more recommendations, I have another spring book recommendation video that I filmed last year. I will link that down below for even more recommendations. And also, if you have any good spring recommendations, leave them down below for me and for other people to find. I would absolutely love that. If you've gotten this far in the video, feel free to comment down a little flower emoji just to show you made it to the end. And that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Hit the notification bell to get updates on when I post. I post every single week, and I'll see you in my next video.